What's going on, you guys? Today is going to be the next part of my 2026 season preview series. Today we're going to be talking about the Chicago Bears. Now, if you haven't seen one of these videos yet, I am going to go through a review of the offense and defense from last year, get into the additions and departures for both sides of the ball, as well as some storylines for each side of the ball in 2026. Then we're going to look at the schedule and finally get into some record predictions for the Chicago Bears. Like I said, if you haven't seen one of these videos, I've done, I believe at this point, this is the 6th video, maybe it's the 5th video. There are videos about Arizona, Atlanta, Buffalo, Carolina. There's probably one I'm missing in there, but make sure if you're a fan of one of those teams or just want to see a video about one of those teams and how I think they're going to fare in 2026 based on what they've done in this previous offseason, make sure you check out those videos. Now, the offense last year in 2025, this was a team that really was driven by their running game, and it was probably the main reason that they won their division and made it back to the playoffs this year. Caleb Williams had his best season as a young quarterback, over 25 touchdowns and almost 4,000 passing yards, which is a pretty good statistic given Chicago's history at quarterback. Monangai and Swift last year, easily the best combination of running back in the NFL last year. Both guys well over 4 yards per carry. Both were decent options in the passing game and just were, like I said, probably the best running back tandem in the NFL last year. Additions-wise, this team didn't do anything in 2026 that really jumps off the page at you. They do sign Khalif Raymond from the Detroit Lions on a one-year deal, and they trade for Garrett Bradbury from the New England Patriots. Both of those are guys who, like I said, they're not names that jump off the page at you, but they are reliable players who have played a lot of football, especially within these last few years. They also draft Iowa offensive lineman Logan Jones. He's probably the guy behind Garrett Bradbury at center right now. Sam Roosh from Stanford as a tight end prospect, as well as Xavier Thomas from LSU at wide receiver. And it makes sense why they targeted receiver and offensive linemen, because departures-wise, this team lost one of the best centers in the NFL in Drew Dalman to retirement, and they traded away DJ Moore to the Buffalo Bills for a 2026 second rounder. They also had some other losses, like Durham Smythe, who went to Baltimore on a $3 million deal, and Olamide Zaccheaus, who went to the Falcons on a 2-year deal. Now, the first storyline I think is going to be apparent throughout the entire 2026 offense, or the season for the offense in 2026. We're going to be kind of wondering if less is more in the receiver room. They obviously trade away DJ Moore. It makes Rome Odunze the clear-cut number 1 guy in that room. It makes Luther Burden the clear-cut number 2 guy in the receiver room. It probably elevates the necessity for somebody like Colston Loveland or Cole Kmet or DeAndre Swift in the passing game. And so you just kind of wonder if one less mouth to feed, for lack of a better term, if that makes more out of the receiver room and out of the passing game in general. This really was a good passing attack last year. They just didn't have a good completion percentage. That really was the only knock on Caleb Williams in this passing attack last year. The second storyline to me is going to be, how will this team respond with no Drew Dalman? Now, he was only with this team for a year, but he, alongside Joe Thuney and Jonah Jackson, were huge pieces in making this offensive line, not only making this offensive line really good, but this offense really good. This was the best rushing attack in the NFL. Dalman, Thuney, and Jackson played major parts in that. And so now that Dalman's going to be gone, how is this team, how is Caleb Williams, how are DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai going to respond to that? And my third main storyline for this offense is going to be about the Madden Curse for Caleb Williams. It's not really, I've never really taken much stock in it, but you can't really deny how guys have kind of fared the year that they're on the Madden cover. And maybe Caleb Williams is really the guy to kind of break that curse. I think it's kind of a storyline. You'll see if this team still makes the playoffs in 2026, if they go further than they did last year. I think he'll be kind of the first guy to break the curse. And now getting to the defense, this was a team who last year, taking the ball away was their bread and butter. It made up for the fact that they allowed a lot of yards on the ground and they allowed a lot of points. It got them out of some tricky situations. This was led by Kevin Byard, who is just in the late stages of an absolutely incredible career. 7 interceptions to lead the entire NFL, along with a first-team All-Pro campaign. Montez Sweat, a 10-sack season last year, has pretty much been everything that the Bears have asked for since they traded for him from Washington. This team made some pretty big additions to the defense. They signed Kobe Bryant and Devin Bush to 3-year deals. They also drafted Dylan Thieneman, the safety out of Oregon, and you're going to see why they made these 2 moves in the back end of the secondary. But these are moves that are both, they're youthful guys, but they're guys who have really produced these last few years. Thienemans have been a, all-America safety in his time at both Oregon, and I believe he was at Penn State before that. That could be wrong, the Penn State part, but for sure at Oregon, he was a really good player. Kobe Bryant for these last couple of years has been an integral piece for this Seahawks defense and was a key reason that this team won a Super Bowl last year. And as you can see on the screen, there was a real reason why this team targeted safety in the draft and free agency. They lost both Kevin Byard and Jaquan Brisker on 1-year deals. While Byard is a really big loss, he's been a guy not only last year who got a lot of interceptions, but for his entire Bears career, he's been an interception machine. Jaquan Brisker has really been one of the guys who has brought juice to this defense. You always saw Brisker making plays, and I don't want to call it showboating, but he definitely made it known that he knew he made great plays. And that's kind of a good thing. You need guys like that who are bringing energy to the defense. Him and Byard are going to be sorely missed for this team. And as I'm going to get into my storylines for this defense, it's a brand new back end of the secondary. It's going to be highly scrutinized if these 2 guys do not work out on the team. Kobe Bryant has been a player who has really produced in the NFL, so I have no doubts that he's going to come to Chicago and be a really good player. Dylan Thieneman, there's still the jury out because he's going to be a rookie. He's going to be a first-round pick. And like I said, he's going to be highly scrutinized if this defense, especially the secondary, struggle. 2026 is going to be a big year for this defense because they were sneaky bad last year if you don't look at the turnovers. They were, as you already saw, I believe bottom 6 in terms of defending the run, and they were in the bottom 8 in terms of limiting scoring. And if this team does not have as many takeaways as they had last year, good chance they don't win the division, good chance they don't make the playoffs last year. And I just don't see this being a team where you say last year was good in any aspect other than taking the ball away. They didn't get after the quarterback at an above average rate. They didn't defend the run well. They are just going to kind of be going into 2026 with that in mind, that last year wasn't a very good year. And another storyline I think we're going to talk about is, did they kind of benefit from an easy schedule last year? You're going to see from the schedule I'm going to put up on the screen here in a minute, this year's schedule is light years harder than last year's schedule was. I believe in the first 10 games last year, Chicago only faced 2 teams that had a winning record in their first 10 games of the season last year. You're going to see here in a second that is definitely not going to be the case in 2026. And as you can see on the screen here, the schedule for Chicago is tough. It starts out tough. In the first 9 weeks, you're facing Carolina, Philadelphia, Green Bay, Atlanta, New England, Seattle, and Tampa Bay. And to end the season, you're going to have Detroit, Jacksonville, Buffalo, Green Bay, and Detroit again. I just think that this schedule compared to last year's schedule is so much tougher. And it's going to be so much tougher defensively for this team as well, because you look at every single week, there's somebody that Chicago's really going to have to worry about. Whether it's Justin Jefferson in Minnesota, whether it's the entire offense of Philadelphia, or whether it's New England with A.J. Brown now and their really good offense, or Seattle with the Offensive Player of the Year, Jackson Smith-Njigba, or pick out any one of these games. There's a really tough week ahead for Chicago when you talk about who they're going to have to defend. And to me, when I think about the record predictions for Chicago, I really think that this could end up being a year that maybe is bad. If offensively they can't get over the fact that Drew Dalman left, DJ Moore is gone, and the rest of the receiving options don't step up, this could be a team that's looking at a 6-11 record. I mean, there's really no easy game on their schedule except for Miami in Week 14 and the Jets in Week 4. And, any team is susceptible to losing games that they should win. So if they even lose one of those two games, you're looking at a really bad season possibly for Chicago. Now, if everything does go well, I really think that Caleb Williams could be one of the top 5, top 7 quarterbacks in the NFL. And most teams that have that have winning records, are winning their division, and are making the playoffs and making noise in the playoffs. I think that this could be as much of a season as last year was at getting confidence in this team, getting confidence in this offense. They were great at running the ball last year, and I don't see a reason other than Dalman leaving why that will change. And I think that could make this team still an 11-6 or 12-5 type team. That's going to be it for this video. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you check out my previous videos I've done for this season. Make sure you leave a comment down below if you want me to see me do a video about your favorite team. And I'll see you in the next video.